What's going on, guys? Welcome back to No Bounce, the sports podcast where we don't really talk about sports. Today, we have an incredible guest, NBA champion, the one, the only, Danny Green. What's up, Danny? And because we got an NBA champ, I had to bring my.
You got a little, okay.
I had to bring my championship ring out. You know.
Which one's that from? High school?
Don't worry about it. Don't worry.
That's the high school ring?
Nah, this is actually. When was this?
I never won I won a Long Island championship, but I didn't. That's the only.
You didn't win a state championship?
I didn't win a championship in high school.
I got a state championship in my belt, man. My dad was my coach. I was a part of the team that was his first state championship, so it was pretty special. But you got 3 NBA championships. So.
Yeah, the high school one got away from me. You got something I don't have, man. So.
Y'all heard it here first. I'm better than Danny Green. I don't know, man. I think that's what I heard. Bro, I genuinely cannot thank you enough for making the trek out here and coming all this way.
No, for sure.
You told me you couldn't come out here until we put the son to sleep.
Baby to sleep, man. I mean, I could have, but it's just easier.
It's easier,
you know, less time constraints, less limitations.
How old is he now?
He's 1.
1, and his name is?
Win. Yeah, his name
Such
is
a dope name.
Yeah.
Do we have a full name?
Win Elias Green.
That's such a dope name. So I know Danny because
Win W-I-N.
Yeah, I thought it was like the casino.
People say W-I-N-N. No, W-I-N.
Like the casino. He just loves blackjack. I know Danny since college. My college.
It's been a while,
you were already in the league, but I was in college because your cousin is my best friend in the world, and so I was just
to him. Just had a third one. Yeah.
I just was on FaceTime with him, and he's like trying to put him to sleep or whatever, and I told him, you were coming in late because you were putting this, and he said, Greens are good dads, man. What can I say?
We do what we can, man. Shout out to JJ. I learned a lot from him, even though he's younger than me. I learned a lot from him.
His
being
third
a family man, yeah.
His third.
Great father, great family man, great husband.
He's nuts.
I've been watching him from afar, but yeah, he's doing it, man.
I guess this is going to be a later question, but I'll put it up now. Which Green? Because you have an athletic family. You have another cousin.
Decently so, yeah.
You have another cousin.
Gerald is a cousin. I didn't find that out till high school.
Which is nuts.
Yeah, it's like second cousin. So like, you know, I have family. My dad has family in like Louisiana, Houston area. I'm from New York originally,
right?
But we have some cousins that kind of not put it together, but like reach out to people, stay in touch, and then figure out the family tree and kind of keep us together. So we have a couple people that do their due diligence and like keep the family, you know, somewhat united.
Who's the most athletic Green?
Probably Gerald.
You think so?
By far. I think it's not even close.
Yeah, it's kind of tough. Gerald, then
probably my younger brother.
Really?
Yeah, my younger brother he's shorter than us, but he's pretty athletic. He jumped. Devontae, he went to IU, Indiana.
Think about JG.
And then JG and Devontae, them two are probably neck and neck.
6'5" with a 6'9" wingspan. Like the kid's hands are like, I could ask him to turn off the light from here, and he's just like, I got you. That's the thing about it.
That's what made him a slasher, defender, you know, athlete,
crazy,
rim finisher.
Was it like there's Vince Carter and T-Mac told that very famous story. They found out they were cousins at a family reunion. How did y'all find out?
That's kind of how it happened.
Okay.
We were in Chicago. I think it was like the Round Ball Classic. I think at the time it was Reebok. I want to say, you know, Nike, Adidas had their camps, ABCD, and then Reebok kind of took over. You have the Jordan Brand Classic. You have the McDonald's All-American, which is the biggest one. But outside of McDonald's, I think there was like a rule you can only do 2 or something like that. So
that's why I didn't.
My AU team was Adidas, then Reebok. So we did the Round Ball Classic in Chicago. I think he was there too, and we had family show up there. So we had some family in Chicago.
Right.
And my dad was there, and I think that's how we kind of found out, connected the dots. Like, oh, that's cousin so. So we kind of found out.
I would have just guessed, like, because
we kind of when we looked at each other, we're like,
you look at each other, and then like
could be family.
Both really athletic, both hoopers, and
I wasn't that athletic.
I don't know, man.
I was decently
UNC
athletic.
days, you weren't athletic?
I was decently athletic, but I was not like really athletic. I was decently athletic, but we both hooped.
Hang on, I have something already pulled up because I felt like you were gonna say something like this. Yeah, buddy. Let me see it.
This is the college days.
Let me see it. Come here, on Duke. Is that not just the best feeling in the world?
Yeah, especially when you don't do it often.
Yeah.
When you don't get a lot of dunks, I think I have, somebody asked me, I think it's like 50-something career NBA dunks. So you get one in NBA, you get one in college. College, I got more in high school. I definitely got more in high school.
Yeah.
Got more in college. NBA, not as many.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you get a chance to get, you know, a good highlight, it's always, especially when you don't get many of them.
Can you type in Gerald Green alley-oop?
Gerald's out this, like his athleticism.
It's nuts. You know, I was at this game.
Yeah. You were at the game.
Yeah, at this game. Bam.
Yeah.
Bam.
That's nasty.
That's crazy.
To do that in the air,
And like thinking about it too. Like, good heavens! Nah, you're up there, bro. You're
That's
one
nasty.
of the. You're up there.
I never looked at the rim like that.
Look at that white guy.
Yeah, I never looked at the rim like that. So yeah,
that's kind of crazy.
I was always below the rim. My arms would be above the rim, but I never had my.
I'm being honest. I don't think I have a career dunk. I was just a shooter. I was just a shooter.
High school.
I was so unathletic in high school, man. I was just the
late bloomer.
I was the coach's son. I'm still waiting to bloom. I was the coach's son, so I was just stupid fundamental, stupid, just understood the game. I was obsessed with film.
You didn't come outside your box. Smart. You had IQ.
I did it. I wore a shirt,
which is good. Because there's a lot of guys in my neighborhood that could not dunk, but still would try to do stupid shit like that in the game, and it's like you can't even dunk.
Yeah.
Why would you attempt that?
Or they would only focus on that in like practice and all this other stuff, and then you're losing aspects of your game. Just know your box.
And that's when you start to realize that when I was older, my younger brothers, and I'm like, yo, you need to. My dad would like stop lowering the rim. Like you stop practicing dunking.
Yeah.
If you can't dunk, don't do it. And even if you can dunk, I think Kyrie finishes are more efficient, more important than dunking the ball, because dunking doesn't happen that often. It's a highlight.
Yeah.
And most of the guys that do dunk often, like Blake Griffin or somebody like that, DeAndre Jordan, they're big men, and they're still. It's like maybe 4 a game. You're not. Most of your baskets gonna be shots or layups.
100%.
And finishing over people, especially if you're undersized. So I think it's more important you learn how to finish off different parts of the backboard than it is dunking the basket.
Y'all listening, kids? This is coming from an NBA champ. You look at people like Ray Allen, Vince Carter, who are these crazy athletes, but finish their careers as shooters and finish their careers as just like being a go-to offensive threat.
They made
so dunking is great, but like eventually, even the best dunkers in the world have to have a developed game.
And if you don't, you won't last very long. There's a lot of athletic guys that just didn't extend their career because they didn't adjust and didn't get the touch or to develop a mid-range or develop a three-point shot. Obviously the game has evolved to where you got to develop a three-point shot now. Before it was like if you just need a mid-range. And some of those guys missed out on getting an extra 3 or 4 years to their career, or even 5 years, because once the athleticism only lasts but so long. And once that goes, teams are gonna be like, all right, well, what else can you bring to the table?
I never had to worry about that. Never had the athleticism in the first place. High IQ. All right, cool. I got a couple questions for you, sir.
Let's see what you got.
I got some good ones.
Okay.
And then I got some trivia ones.
I'm expecting you've done some good research. You seem prepared.
I'm prepared.
Okay.
This one has nothing to do with being prepared. I'm actually genuinely just curious. Out of everybody you've played with, because that's typically people who has the most, like, on TikTok right now, a big thing is like, their aura. Who has the craziest aura? You know what I mean? Like, if they just walk, sometimes you don't even need to see them. You just know they just walked in the room. You know what I mean? Like, just that like presence about them. I can imagine who's up there as number 1 or 2.
the superstars that I've played with, right?
Yeah. I would imagine LeBron is one.
For sure.
Yeah. But are there any like sleepers in there? Like, look, I know Tim Duncan wasn't flashy and he wore, jean shorts.
It just depends on location, right?
Okay,
it depends on where you are.
Yeah.
If I'm in Brazil, like Thiago, Thiago Splitter or Boris Diaw, like in their respective countries, you go to Patty Mills in certain areas, like these guys are gods. In Texas, like all Spurs are gods. You go to Dallas, like certain people just, they are just who they are.
Yeah.
But there are some young kids that when I seen them before they became superstars, I could tell like, the way he walked in, the way he carries himself, just his aura, like he's gonna be something special. Yeah. Like Tyrese Maxey is one of them.
Okay.
Kawhi, before he developed, like he was one of them. He's gonna be. I didn't predict that at all. I can't even say he's. I didn't think he was gonna be great. But I thought he was gonna be a specimen. Yeah, you could tell his shoulders, but I didn't think he was gonna be what he is.
Yeah. Did that kind of like? This is going a different direction, but did that kind of take y'all off guard? Because I know you're like practicing with him every day and you see him, but then he has like those crazy, finals MVP. He has those type seasons. Like, I know you saw something special about him, but did you see that coming? Did you see him being like, this is about, okay.
Not at all. So back to the question though, like in college, Tyler Hansborough just had that. Like he had that presence.
Gotcha.
Ty Lawson, like a couple guys had that presence. At Wayne, we had a couple guys come in before I even got there, like Marvin Williams, those guys, Sean May, Raymond Felton. They just had like an aura about them.
Felton,
yeah, all those guys. You come on campus, Carolina basketball player.
True. Yeah.
But when I got to my first year was in Cleveland. Obviously, Shaq, Bron was there. I had Mo Williams, Anthony Parker. Delonte West. I learned a lot of things, different, good and bad, from all of these guys.
Yeah.
You know, Boobie Gibson, he had an aura, like different guys.
Oh,
that,
wow, that's the name.
But in San Antonio, like a couple guys that came through that left, dipped out, or what's the name? We had Steven Jackson, we had T-Mac. Those guys had an aura about them. Even when I was young, playing against like KD, Russ, Kyrie, the younger guys, Luka, like you can just tell that you can tell they're going to be special before they're special. But I'm trying to think if there's any in particular sleepers that it's like, oh, you walk somewhere and they're just like, you can't go nowhere type of godlike.
It's just like
outside of Bron, when I was in, I'm trying to think of every city. I just think like bigger people, of course their auras, like Boban, Joel. When you look at them, you're like, what the, like that's a big like, human being. Like, you know what I'm saying?
It
like
feels different.
Boban's tall as hell, big body. Joel's, you know, he looks 7'2" because he's just 300 something plus pounds. So when you see those guys, you're just like, holy shit, like, you know, holy shit. They carry a presence that's just like you've never seen before, like, and you don't come across that often. I think there's just like there's certain guys, and not even just NBA, like celebrities, that like even if you don't see them, you just feel the energy shifted in the room when they were. I think one guy, NBA wise, that obviously has a crazy aura but isn't a big guy is you think about Steph. Like he walks in the room, everybody's like, you may not even see him, go unnoticed,
but everybody.
Because you know, he can go, he can hide out, he can blend in.
He can kind of blend in a little bit.
He wants to.
But
yes, he definitely has aura. Those guys, like, you think about it, I didn't get a chance to play with them, but like you look at AI, you know, like those guys, they talk about Dennis Rodman earlier, like certain guys that were just rock stars. Kobe, like they're just rock stars. You go to certain places, people waiting outside hotel rooms, outside the bus, like they have that rock star.
And then you just have what's the Dream Team documentary? John Stockton just hops off the bus in Spain, like, and no one even
he walks around with his camera like, what do you do? You know,
people like, who do you do for a living? Who are you here to watch? And he's just like, the guy's wearing a John Stockton t-shirt.
That's me. They're like, you look familiar. What do you do? What do you do? I'm like, I play hockey, man. Bro, you know?
I have a buddy who's 7'6", and every time someone asks, because like he gets so annoyed with people being like,
that's all jokes.
Do you play basketball? Or like, oh yeah, what do you do for a living? He just always goes, his name is Mamadou, and he's got this deep voice.
How's the air up there? What's the weather like? Goes, they play the corny tall jokes every time. I play
golf. And like they're like, you're a golfer? He's like, yeah, golf. And they're like, okay. Anyway, he just gets fed up with it. It's time for, man, I wish we had like a live band. How well does Danny Green know Danny Green?
That's a good question. I don't think I know myself very well, but I know what you're about to ask me, and I don't think I know myself that well in that aspect.
It's only 5 questions.
Statistic-wise, I don't, like, I'm not good with, and I think it was a superstitious thing for me. I didn't like to hear numbers. I didn't like to know numbers. I like to just hoop. But
okay, I won't use any numbers.
Go ahead, man. Do your thing. I'll see if I can guess.
Except they're all number related. Okay. How many teams has Danny played for? NBA teams. Yeah.
Okay, well, it's Cleveland. That's to start out with. San Antonio, Toronto, LA, Philly, Memphis, and then back to Toronto, Philly. So 7 teams? 7 teams? 7 teams?
6.
Okay.
Yeah, because I wasn't counting the going back.
Yeah, I don't count. You can't because it's the same team, basically, right? So 6 teams.
So 6 teams. Yeah. What year did you average the most points in your NBA career thus far?
2014?
Yes, 2014-2015 season.
It was between those 2 years that we made the finals, I want to say.
Yeah, and then because y'all won in
2014.
You won in 2014.
Yes. So the year after that is when
years always get so confusing. So the 2013-2014 is when you won, and then
2012, 2013 we lost. 2013-14 we won.
Right.
And then the next year, the year after that is what you're saying. So.
You did. And
I would have been wrong because I would have thought.
And averaged the most steals and blocks that season.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Did not know that.
What a year for you, man. What pick was Danny Green in the draft?
Oh, I don't think anybody should forget the draft pick number 46.
Because that leads to my next question. Who was before and after you?
I don't know all 45, but I know a lot of guys that are still around, that are still there. I think Patty was after me. He's still around, right. But like number 1 pick, I'm pretty sure that year was Blake. And then we had Hashim to beat, and And then we had James Harden at 3, I think. And then DeMar is in there. Drew Holiday is in there. Brandon Jennings, Ricky Rubio, Taj Gibson's up there. James Johnson's in that lottery. Terrence Williams in that lottery. Ty Lawson a little right outside of it. Wayne was in the top in the first round. Tyler Hansborough was in the lottery.
Hansborough went
13 or 14.
A little bit, right? Yeah.
No, he went higher than people expected.
Oh, really?
Kind of like a Zach Edey situation.
Yeah, because
people thought player of the year, they didn't think he'd be good in NBA, and they're like,
which is so interesting.
But I'm like, yo, he's good. So you're good in college, you should be good in NBA. So Zach Edey got drafted higher than people expected because they didn't think, he reaches his potential, but he's a good player. Tyler, the same situation. I couldn't name all of. I know Christian Ianga was drafted by Cleveland. I was drafted by Cleveland second round. First round, they drafted Christian Ianga, fellow teammate. He played overseas for some time, but I'm trying to think of who's still around from that class.
I'm curious. I need to look it up.
I think Wesley Matthews was undrafted, but he was in my. I think
Wes went undrafted.
Pat Bev might be in that class, but I think he went overseas first. Yeah, Wes was undrafted. I think Wesley Matthews was undrafted.
Oh, wow. Yeah, he's had a good career.
So yeah, we 09 we had a pretty good group, and they thought we were going to be one of the weaker classes. Yeah. And we actually had, shout out to those guys. We're actually one of the better classes out there.
I'm going to bookmark the
Jeff Teague,
the weaker
another
class statement there for a second. Next Danny Green question. I want to come back to the draft. Most amount of threes in a playoff game?
8.
Close. 7.
Yeah, 7. Okay.
And do you know how many times you've done that?
3?
3 times.
Okay. That's a lucky guess.
I was at the first one. It was against OKC. Me and JG were in the building, which was one of the craziest playoff games I've ever.
Was it against OKC?
One of the craziest.
I had 7 against OKC?
Yeah.
I know Miami happened.
Yeah. The Miami was in the finals.
I think
Miami
Dallas
was
happened.
in the finals.
Okay. I don't think I hit 7 that. Did I hit 7 that game? Maybe.
In one of these games, because you broke the record for most 3-pointers in a finals.
Yeah, before Steph got there 7 times.
Well, 7 was the new record until Steph came along and
he got 8.
and then Lillard had 12 one game
in the playoffs.
Yeah, and so or 10 in the playoffs, and then Clay had 10 in the playoffs. Lillard had 12. That's the record for NBA. But
in the playoffs,
7 was the record at the time. Yo, one thing I used to always. So my dad used to make me watch you shoot. By the way,
yeah. Why is that?
Because look at how square you are. Every shot.
They did a good job of.
You could be sprinting, and he's to this day will talk about. Because I think you were Clay before Clay existed. In the sense
that's a big compliment.
No, it's true because you could be sprinting down the court or wherever you're moving, and you're always squared up, and you're always up and down. If you notice, look, you running corner straight up and down. You're never fading. That's a lot of repetition,
man.
That's it.
Chad Forcier, Will Hardy, big shout out to them. They're the main reasons why I was a good shooter. I became a better shooter. I would say great shooter.
No, I'll say great shooter. It's okay to say great
in
shooter.
San Antonio because they reps shooting it the same way every time.
Yeah.
Getting the footwork, getting your feet right, getting your balance base, lock, leave, stick, follow through. And then, of course, once you're hot, then
once you hit,
you got to see the first couple go in the right way.
Well, this series, I think you made 5 in game 1 or 2, 5 for 5. You were 7 for 9 in the second game, but you're always straight up and down, and that's what's so impressive. Because you, like I said, you could be sprinting down the court and you catch, and you don't drift one way or the other. You don't shift. You land either forward or in the same spot. It's very impressive. But yeah, I was at that game, so that was a fun game. Because
which one?
The first time you hit
OKC.
7, the OKC.
Okay.
And that was the year that Charles Barkley was getting a lot of flack for talking about the women in San Antonio.
Yeah.
And I remember you came off the court.
Did we lose that year to them?
No. That's the year you won.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was.
OKC got to the finals. We lost to them. Serge was out, and he came back, and then we lost to them.
I think it was this year. I think it was the year y'all won.
Okay. So I know the year we won, I don't think we played Dallas. I think Memphis and maybe Portland.
So maybe it wasn't.
I don't think it was. I think it was. We played OKC. I think we
lost that year.
Maybe. Yeah, we might have lost in the finals that year. We played them to get to the finals. We beat them one time to get we lost to them one time. We beat them one time, but we didn't win the championship. Yeah. The times that we played them.
I'm trying to think. So maybe it was the year after, because it might have been the year after Mavs won, and the Heat won the following year. Interesting. Anyway, but yeah, that was. So hey, honestly, You got all the. You know Danny Green really well. Good for you, man.
Decent enough. That's all of them.
That was good.
Oh, so you had some good ones, some easy ones. The draft pick is pretty easy.
I wasn't about to come in here and be like, hey.
I did get those 7 wrong. I said 8, which was wrong, but I was close.
7 was the backup. But doing that 3 times in
what else was the other ones?
How many teams you played for? You got
I said 7. I got that wrong too. But
I honestly, when I was researching these, I was looking like I was gonna go like deep and go like high school, but I didn't know how.
Yeah, high school I would have definitely remembered. But I thought you were gonna ask like shooting percentage, how many makes, how many was.
I was gonna do that, but then I was like, bro, who remembers like exact percentage and stuff like that? But this does lead me to my next question: top 10 leaders in playoff threes. Can you name? Let's see how many you can get out of the top 10.
Steph, Clay, Ray Allen.
Yep, Ray Allen's Steph is at 1, Clay's at 2, Ray Allen's at 5.
Manu Ginobili
at 7.
J.R. Smith
at 10.
Myself, am I in there?
You are in there at 9.
Okay. How many numbers am I missing?
Which, by the way, can we just stop for a second and recognize that like I'm sitting with one of the top 10.
I played a lot of games. That's what this.
No.
Guys that played
but
a lot of games.
In playoffs though. But it's not like you had.
Who else has shot a lot?
It's not like you've had you had a good playoff stint, obviously, but it's not like you've been in 10 playoff. You know what I mean? Like To be in the top 10 is insane of anything in the NBA.
Reggie.
So yes, Reggie's in there. I guess moment is over.
How many we got so far?
You, Steph, Clay, Ray Allen at 5, Manu at 7, Reggie at 8, you at 9, J.R. Smith at 10. So we're missing 6, 3, and 4.
Ooh. Did I say Chris? I didn't say Chris Mullin.
And he's not in there either.
He's not in it. The one in.
These 3 players are still playing. Yes, KD at 6.
Okay.
These other 2 players are still playing.
LeBron James.
LeBron at 3.
Of course.
That's longevity. That's not like he's the best shooter. That is just he's been doing it for 20 years. He hasn't missed a playoff ever except once.
Yeah.
Okay, and then number 4. He's always a sleeper because
he's still playing.
Yeah, and he's never won anything, and it's.
Oh, okay. Is it Chris Paul? Is he younger or is he older? He's got to be older, right?
Yeah, he's older. He's older. He's been at it for a while. I'll give you a hint. He was at one point a KD teammate.
That's a lot of people. I'm going with James Harden.
James Harden.
Yeah, I feel good. James. I got to sleep on James.
Yeah,
James is.
I always forget, but you look at the leaderboard for.
He's on the top and leading threes too. Not only playoffs.
Yeah,
but I knew for sure regular season he was. I just wasn't sure playoffs.
He is. I have on here top 3-point scorers of all time, which is a similar list, honestly.
Yeah, he's up there. I know he's up. I know he's like number 3.
Number 3.
Yeah,
and he's closing in on Ray Allen.
Yeah.
But
he was right behind Steph.
What's crazy is,
I knew that because he was in Philly when I was there with him when he did that.
Never reached Steph. It's crazy.
Yeah, nobody's catching Steph. Nobody's catching Steph.
It's actually unreal. Which kind of next question is obviously you've had a great career and you had a great few seasons at San Antonio. And I just said it, and I stand by it, that you were Clay before Clay was here.
I appreciate that,
which is the truth. If somehow back in time you could get into a system like the Warriors, do you think that those 3-point and those numbers, do you think it's a different story? Because their system is obviously, Spurs system is great. Pop is great. It's a very team ball.
Funny enough, Pop adjusted to the 3-point line, but he wasn't a fan of it.
Yeah.
So if he was actually a fan of it, he knew we needed it to win. So we did that. Do I think there'll be a huge surplus of it for me? No, but I think the numbers will obviously be higher.
Right.
Do I think I would be Clay? No, I'm not taking or discrediting anything. Clay was very good. And not everybody can do what Clay did. Now, could I be a watered down version of that? Possibly. You just never know. You never know.
I do see what you're saying. You're going the political route.
I never got the opportunity, and that's also timing, space. But I did get plenty of opportunity to showcase myself. But I never got.
You still set records.
I never got that we're going to feature a shooter, feature this guy. No, it wasn't that thing. I was always the glue guy, the defensive guy, a floor spacer when you need me, but it wasn't like drawing up plays or we're just shooting a bunch of threes. If I played in Houston where they shot a bunch of threes or Golden State, yes, my numbers would be higher, but would I have won the same amount? Probably not.
Yeah.
Would I get in the same respect? Maybe not. I don't know. Well, you don't know. So you never know.
It's
not everybody said. Some guys get the chance that don't deserve the chance. Some guys do, and there's a reason why they get those keys because they're very good, and not everybody can do that. So I'm not discrediting anything about any superstar or those guys that have had the ball in their hands and saying that I could do that. But I do think there are some guys that are on the verge that could be close to a superstar. I'm not saying I'm one of them, but given the right opportunity, right position or like team or system, I think some guys could be, some other guys and get better recognition.
But that's why I think, because, I agree with you. Definitely, obviously not discrediting Clay. He's the second best shooter of all time. And the only reason he's second best is because Steph Curry is alive.
Yeah.
If Steph Curry never picked up the ball, Clay would be number one. So I'm not taking any, but I am saying what you are refusing to say is, yes, you would have been. You would have been that, because exactly what you just said though. But it's the because of what you just said. You obviously you were the glue guy. You were the sport. You knew your role, and so it's not like you'd go into that Golden State thing and be like, oh, I'm taking all the shots.
Yeah, not everybody can be Golden State. Our system, all systems are different. Not everybody could be Golden State, but also on the flip side of that, people can be like, well, would Clay would he be Clay in a different system? Would Steph be Steph in a different system? I think those guys would still be great regardless of where they were, but it would still be a little different.
It's all about the.
There's a reason why you can't. It's hard to say the what ifs.
Because it is. You're 1,000% right. It is. I have this theory that, to go way off topic, I have this theory that if Caitlin Clark and Paige Beckers switch teams, Caitlin Clark wouldn't do what Paige Beckers did at UConn, but Paige Beckers could.
Her name wouldn't be as big, maybe.
Right, but because she wouldn't have the green light, because UConn is very much like a San Antonio, and the Iowa is very much like a Golden State. So it's a system thing. It's not taking anything away from Caitlin Clark.
They're both very good players, very great players.
She's clearly doing incredible things. It's a different system,
but it's also, you just never know how certain people's mentality is in different systems. Like her chip on the shoulder of, these people didn't recruit me. I'm going to show, who knows how Paige react to carrying a team.
True.
And she still carries UConn, but not the same way Caitlin carries Iowa.
Yeah, you take Paige off
that
of
role
UConn.
is different. Not everybody can do that. You know what I'm saying? So, but there's a lot of, would Draymond be Draymond if he was in Golden State? Still be a great player. But it'd be very different. It'd just be different. I still think he'd be very good. These guys would still be very good, but there's a reason why they're in that system and they flourished. And the coaching staff did a great job of putting in the front office, putting that together and then making it work.
And too, you were, and I don't think this is discrediting you or disrespectful to you by any means, because if you just look at the screen right now, you have 4 Hall of Famers on the court. You were the 5th option. With these, what I mean?
Every team that I've been on, I think I've been the 5th option.
But I mean, to do what you did and what you have done as the 5th option. So all I'm saying is,
I appreciate
if
the credit,
if you take you from the 5th option and put you at 2nd option where Clay is, that's all I'm saying is
it could have done more. I could have, who knows? But
have you seen this? Me and JG were just talking about. Did you see that tweet where it was like ball up top? Do you know this?
I've heard of it, but I don't know what it means.
Just for y'all at home and for you, Danny.
I've seen some memes and I'm like, what does that even mean?
So this guy, he finds out that pull it up for me, Cal. Ball up top tweet. This guy finds out that he posts a photo of him holding his daughter.
I seen that. Okay, I seen that.
And then finds out, I shouldn't be laughing because it's not funny, but it is funny.
That it's not his daughter.
Finds out it's not his daughter.
Okay.
And just tweets ball up top. So like a run it back. This check up. This isn't it. Like redo. We're like foul. We're going back or whatever, right? So it's become this like trend now where people are just tweeting out like mistakes in their life and saying ball up top.
Okay.
So do you have a career, or I don't want to get deep into life, but do you have a like ball up top moment where you wish you could check up again and like do it differently, start it over differently?
I wouldn't want to do the whole thing over, but there are certain moments, if I could do that moment over, what I change to do differently.
Yeah. Is there anything in particular that you can share that like?
For sure. When I'm playing, there's 2 that stick out, like very in the forefront of my mind when I think about like, damn. One was the 2013 finals. We missed some free throws, but if we could have gotten a rebound. So one of them, could I that moment in the moment somehow get the rebound, or there's one time where I contested a shot and I leaked out. We were kind of doing it that year and I was, my habit was to leak toward half court instead of contesting and going back in for a shot. Not that I would have gotten the rebound, but could I have done something differently to get a rebound so we won game 6? That was like a moment I could have over. Can I box this guy out? Can I get this rebound? Can I pump fake Chris Bosh and try to draw a foul on that 3-pointer, or get my shot off, give him a pump fake, sidestep him? Chris Bosh with the block on me. People say he got my body foul, but I could have pump fake.
I think he did, but that's just
refs don't call it. It's not a foul, right?
Yeah, so I get it.
The pump fake or a rebound, that would have been one. And the other one is the 2020 championship bubble. Even though we still won, we could have won it in 5. I got the ball and I didn't know how much time was on the clock. I bobbled the catch, I picked it up. I had way more time than I needed to shoot. I would have taken my time and actually shot the ball differently. So those two, if I could have back.
I think I remember that ball up top. It's so crazy. She ain't mine, guys. Ball up top. That's such a nuts tweet. I remember that bubble game or that whole bubble series.
Yeah, we were in the Mamba jerseys. Everybody's like, we haven't lost in the Mamba jerseys, and it's like, damn,
crazy. Yeah.
Well, is all good.
So you've won with 3 different teams.
I've been very lucky. I've been put in the right spots at the right time.
And obviously you can't compare, but we're going to. Is your first one the sweetest? Is the bubble the sweetest? Is the going to another team and like validating?
You can compare a little bit, but it's hard to. It's like if you ask JG which one of his kids is his favorite. Or which one was his favorite experience. It's going to be like, oh, this was different. He loves them all the same,
right?
Differently.
But differently,
I think the first one is always the sweetest because it's your first one,
right?
And the most memorable. And because we had lost to Miami the year previous. So that was probably the sweetest, most memorable one. It's like, oh, it's the first one that I got a chance to experience that. And then Toronto, doing it for a whole country that's never been able to do it. They've been there and outside of the Spurs system where people doubted me and Quad be able to do that a year later or 1 year after leaving, like that following year after being traded. Saying it's the bubble and Lakers, we were a better team. We were expected to win. The bubble wasn't that exciting.
My boy,
that was a rough experience, but it was the hardest one. It was the hardest one. But the sweetest one, probably the first one. It's between Toronto and San Antonio. Those two
for different reasons.
Different reasons. But the hardest one was probably the bubble one, just mentally, emotionally, and even physically too, because like the world shut down. Everybody's watching us. Everything's magnified even that much more because no other sports are on really.
Which also kudos to the NBA because they did it so as annoying as I'm sure it was. Like no one got it. They did it perfectly. Whatever. It's pretty.
They kept everybody out. They tested. You sat there. You got in quarantine. Nobody stepped in or out of that. If you did, you had to be quarantined. And everybody that came in, which is 2 months later, they had to be tested in quarantine until they were clear.
Jeez.
The family, which they said, wives and girlfriends and kids came. 2 months later. For like the last month. Most teams are already leaving at that point.
Yeah. That was a nutty time. My boy AC though. You got to play with
legend. Bro, the GOAT.
Love that guy, man.
Just got engaged, man. Congrats to him.
Yeah, hey, congrats to AC. He's such a good dude, bro.
Everybody's growing up, right? Congrats to everybody. AC, the GOAT, man.
Man, he really is.
One of the
Everybody's growing up except me. I can't even get a second date. What's going on, ladies? What's going on?
You're in LA, kid.
I think I'm a catch. I think I'm kind of a catch.
You're in LA, man. It's not you, it's the issue.
No, man.
It's your location and the people around you. But
you met your wife. She's from
Houston.
But where'd y'all meet?
In Houston.
Okay.
Actually, I was playing for San Antonio, and a former high school team of mine introduced us. He was playing for Houston at the time.
Gotcha.
She went to school. She went to Purdue, played volleyball there. She was actually just graduated back from Purdue. Working for her parents at the time. Just got back, and we met because my guy Scotty Machado, was playing preseason with Houston.
Gotcha.
And that's how we met. So
I don't know why I just remember this. This is going to be so random and off topic. Do you still have a snake?
I do not.
Bro,
I had 2 of them. I had one for the longest. I had her in college, and I had her for like 11, 12 years. And then I had other ones alongside her throughout the years. And they both had, they died when I left Toronto.
I'm sorry.
It was hard to get them across the border, but that was years ago.
I'm sorry to say that. But
it's all good.
I just remember, I get a FaceTime from JG one night. He was staying with you in San Antonio. And he was like, hey, I don't see the snake in the cage, man. He was freaking out, bro. He barely.
She wasn't getting out.
He
of that
barely
cage.
likes my dog. Like, he's not a big animal
He's not an
guy.
animal person.
Bro, how big did this snake get?
She was about 9 feet.
God,
She was 9 feet, man. I had her for a while. She'd been through a lot, but when we left, it was harder to get her back into the States, to get across the border, than it was to get her into Canada. And we had her in somebody's care, and he said she got sick. So,
jeez, that's sorry to hear that. But I don't know why I just remember that.
But snakes are different than dogs. It wasn't like we had that connection. Like, obviously, like I cared for her, I loved her, I had her for a while.
Yeah.
But it's not like
you're not like cuddling.
Nah, it's not like a dog. It's not like a
you.
mammal.
Yeah.
I got her honestly because it was just the only pet that I could have being a single guy.
Yeah.
I got her in college, and then they're very low maintenance. All they need is heat and water, and when they're babies, you only feed them once every
was it like a
week, once every 2 weeks.
Pickup line, like, hey girl, you want to come see my snake?
Nah, it was never. It said everybody in our house and my apartment at the time were getting pets. They had girlfriends, they had people help them. Some had dogs, one had a hamster. Guys were getting. So I was like, yeah, all right, I got to get something, man. I went and got a snake. I'm like, this is easy because we travel so much. I only had to feed her, but when she was a baby, like once every week, and then every 2 weeks, and then when she got bigger as a grown adult, once every month and a half, 2 months.
That's crazy.
Yeah, there's easy, man.
I don't know why I just remember that. That's insane. Did you? I don't know. I just read this actually when I was doing my research on you. Did you consider transferring from UNC after sophomore year?
I did.
What was the?
There was a lot of things that came into play for that.
Are you glad you stayed though?
100%.
After that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not the type to run from problems or issues, and part of it was I wasn't playing, wasn't sure I was going to play. My freshman year I played a little bit. Sophomore year I played even less. But I had also issues back home. So my dad got incarcerated. He's the head of the household. Things were changing, family, kind of breaking down, splitting up. And, I just want to be closer to home to help with the family situation, but also be somewhere I wanted to play. But, he was like, don't worry about me. Like, I'll be fine. He got out in 2 years, and, he was like, stick it out. I believe you belong there. I believe you can play with anybody. You have to believe it yourself. So I did. I put the work in, and then my junior year, I was, still coming off the bench. I didn't start till my senior year, but I was, one of the 6 men of the year type thing, and started playing more. But, eventually, got my opportunity, and then my senior year finally started to start.
See, I think, and I'm such like an old head now. The way I talk, I feel like, man, I'm only 50. But I think everything that came up with the NIL and everything going on, I'm sure you have your thoughts on that. But I think one, it is a good thing. These players should be getting paid for the money they're bringing in the university. However, what it has caused now is people not doing what you did and sticking it out.
For sure. I still think that there should be some type of rules with the transfers.
I agree. So the NIL rule, getting paid for bringing the money in, all get
for it.
The whole transfer portal.
People transferring 5 or 6 times to be able to play. Like,
because
if you transfer
you
like 3 times, you got to sit out a year or something like that.
Yeah, I was talking to a buddy who's a coach at UNT, so mid-major, small major, honestly. He's like, it sucks for us because we invest in these players, and then they have a crazy sophomore year because we developed them, and then they get offered $200,000 to go play at a high major or whatever it is, and of course, and they're like, we don't blame the kids, like they need the money, whatever, but like, we just invested all this time and effort into them, made them the player they are, and now they're just like bouncing.
Free agency, man. There's no loyalty on either side of the
I think it needs to be regulated a little bit more.
We will see. I'm sure there'll be some laws or certain change at some point.
Right now, it's just wild.
I mean, it's great for the kids. It's great for the students to be able to experience multiple campuses, get paid money, play the favorites, like their sport that they're passionate about. So that is dope.
I heard a college coach say how some kid was mouthing off or something like that, and he was like, how do I discipline a kid who's making more money than me? I feel like every level of professional sports is getting diluted because of the new rules, the new things allowed are great for the players, but for a team aspect, for a coach, from the coaching aspect, and from the product aspect, I feel like it's very diluted product on all levels. I thought it was going to be one of these things where like, okay, good, now kids are going to stay in college till senior year because one of the biggest reasons
a lot of them will now stay.
Leave,
yeah, a lot of them will stay and get paid,
but be at 3 or 4 different universities. And so it's just like, I thought, maybe the players who will stick it out till senior year at one school or whatever. If you football NFL season right now, who's your team?
I don't have one.
Great.
I haven't watched NFL like that since I stopped playing. Each year it's kind of gotten fade. I played in high school some.
What position?
I was a quarterback.
I was just about to ask, if you were to not like had months to train, like tomorrow morning a team calls you, puts you on the field, what position could you be effective? You're not going to be good at any of them, but like you think could
probably
be
receiver.
Like receiver? Athlete.
I mean, quarterback I would say because naturally that's what I played. Yeah. But like getting thrown into that fire I feel like people rushing me at this moment in my life, not being prepared for that, also, and going through
like not just people like 6'9".
Yeah, big heavy guys. I never had that chasing me before. Like, nah, I don't need that in my life. So yeah, wide receiver. Maybe tight end. No, not tight end. It's probably wide receiver.
I think I could be a
or a corner or safety or something like that.
Travis
just chase people, play defense. So yeah, those are the lighter. Shouldn't call them lighter guys. They're not hitting as much. Yeah. They're chasing. It's not as physical.
Right.
It's more stop, go, cut, and use your hand, catch. So I could probably do that.
I think I could be a bootleg Travis Kelce.
I thought you would say like punter or something like that.
I could punt too.
A field goal.
Bro, I'll be quarterback. Bro, I'm nice. I really should have gone to football instead of basketball.
So you like Cordell Stewart, huh? I don't even know who that is. That's probably before your time.
Yeah, I don't know.
He was like the punter, kick returner, field goal kicker, quarterback. He played all positions for the Steelers at one point.
Easy. Yeah. So obviously the league, there's a lot of trash talk going on that even fans don't know. Can you tell me either the craziest thing you ever said or the craziest thing you had said to you? And you can leave names out if you want, but trust me, we would love to know.
I've never said anything crazy to anybody.
Not like yeah.
The craziest thing I've heard somebody say to someone.
Or to someone or you. Like, has someone ever said anything
nobody's
to you
ever
that actually got
me.
you? You're like, oh. Okay.
No, nobody's ever talked to me or said anything crazy to me. And even our team, they respected us in San Antonio. Like,
yeah.
We beat a lot of people up pretty good, and we would do it with a straight face, So we didn't talk a lot of trash, and they knew not to talk trash.
All right, so what's the craziest thing you heard then?
But like when you're in LA, even with a better team then too, nobody really talked trash was then. Toronto, not so much. I've always had Philly, not so much. I've always had the bigger bullies on my team, so nobody really talked to us. When you got Bron or Joel or Kawhi, like. Yeah. There's not much trash talk going to those type of guys that are on those teams because they're like, at any moment those guys could really turn it on, and make us look pretty bad. So I'm trying to think. In Memphis, there was some they really got after they listen to a lot of young boys, so they talked a little bit of trash here and there. But yeah, nobody. I can't say that I was on the court enough to see or hear what people said to them. But yeah, there was some trash talking going on. But I can't think of anything that comes to mind.
Nothing's ever been said to you. Like when you're going on this crazy 3-point streak, you never hit one in someone's face and said, "Get a hand up, motherfucker." Like you never like.
Yeah, I'll talk a little trash. They'll, the bench always. You see the highlights. The bench they yell at you, and I'm like, they're like, "Oh hell nah."
One of these you turn to the bench. Yeah. Do you remember what you said?
They'll yell or they'll say hell nah, some shit like that, and you'll just be like. Yeah, read the scout report. Like, but you can't just leave me up. Like, are you serious?
Yeah.
So, you'll talk some trash to them in the corner, but nothing crazy. So I was a Spur, man. They don't really talk trash to Spurs, and the Spurs don't really talk.
I just imagine, and I know it.
I know there was a time when I was in Cleveland. I was rookie at the time, but like that's when Boston was Boston. They talked a lot of trash, and then guys.
That was like
Delonte,
KG,
those
Pierce,
guys are going back and talking trash to them, and then they had history. Doc, had on the sideline, but there was some trash talk going on then.
I can't imagine. I mean, KG, the things that I've heard KG say is
Paul Pierce, KG, Doe, Rondo was young at that point, but he still talked trash.
Yeah.
They had Leon Poe, they had Big Baby, they had a bunch of guys that
talked.
They had a team, they had a really good team, man. And then KG talk shit just to get himself going.
Who's the KG's one of these guys I imagine, but like someone you hated playing against but then end up teaming with and loved being on their team. You know what I mean? Like they always say that about KG. Like you hate playing against him, but you love playing with him.
The guys that are most annoying to the average fan, like the Dylan Brooks and the Pat Beverleys.
Yeah.
Like you hate them when you're not a part. Like they're annoying as hell. But when you're part to the great teammates, and you're like you want them on your team when you're with them on a team, you're like, all right, I see why people ride for these guys and they want to go in a battle with them. So when I became teammates with those two, shout out to them. Shout out to Pat Bev to keeping it alive, inspiring people and playing overseas. He's hell of a career, and said Dylan Brooks another guy. But I'm trying to think if there's somebody else. Dwight, another guy that. People talk. They always got jokes, trash talk, whatever it is, and but he does do some silly stuff sometimes, and he'll get a technical. But you're glad to have him on your team because he's elbowing other people and not you, because he's getting hit by his screen.
Big dude, yeah.
There's certain guys that set certain screens, like him, DeAndre Jordan that set screens, Blake set some screens, Zaza set some screens, and Golden State. You just couldn't get around. Gortat, there's certain guys. Booz, Joakim Noah when Derrick Rose was at his peak. Serge, Steven Adams, like those guys setting screens. Just like
Steven Adams, I've loved Steven Adams since the second he stepped in the league.
Yeah.
I've always admired him from afar.
He's great.
He's just one of those guys that nobody messes with.
For a reason.
Like he literally the one clip of him picking somebody up and just walking him off the court, said, "Oh, not today, mate."
Yeah.
It's just like to do that with a straight face and like handle another grown man like that is actually insane.
He does everything with a straight face.
An elbow from him?
Steven Adams. That wasn't a small guy he picked up, by the way.
It's not. He literally just who did he pick up?
Tony Bradley? Is that what? Yeah.
He literally
Tony Bradley, Carolina guy, he's a big man. He's
big dude. He's just as tall as him.
Yeah,
he said, no, mate.
Yeah.
They asked him later, why'd you pick him up? He said, no, we ain't doing that. And he literally picks him up and that is bro, you just don't. As another grown man, if somebody picked me up and carried me, I'm one of two things. I'm thinking, bro, if you don't let me down, or two, this man just picked me up, I'm not messing with him.
Tony's one of the nicest kids I ever met, too. I don't know how that happened, but,
Slow-mo. There goes slow-mo, man. He gave me 32 in high school. Yeah.
I'm not shocked. He get buckets, man.
Yeah, he really
People forget how, because you go in the league, you don't see him as scorer, but these guys were nice. College and high school, like they would get buckets. Even though, people are like, oh, he can't shoot or score. No, he can still score the basketball, and he could.
Who was I just talking to about this? Kevin Herter. He said when some of these players go off because there's injuries on the team and everybody's shocked, like, oh, who knew that happened? He's like, bro, they're in the NBA.
Yeah.
Like the 15th person on the bench will give any given person buckets at any given time.
Somebody could get hot and they give you 30,
Well, it's like Caruso when he went off, the season before the bubble, and he had a really good
that reminds me of the kid that just had 50, and I don't even know if he signed to a team right now. Malachi Flynn.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's but
just dude, you're an
NBA player. He can score. Guys can score.
They're different. Okay, I won't take up too much more of your time. I know you got to drive back to the kid, but I am gonna ask: have you seen these blind ranking videos?
No. What is that about?
So we're gonna do top 7. I'm gonna give you.
Okay.
This list is gonna be about best shooters.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you a name, and you have to rank them without knowing the next name.
Gotcha.
Okay. Okay, cool. So we're going to be blind ranking shooters.
Gotcha.
You ready?
Let's do it.
Cool. And this is 1 through 7.
Okay.
Cool. Michael Redd.
I feel like this list is going to have a lot of good shooters on them.
I will go ahead and say, because I know you might reserve a spot, I didn't put Steph on the list.
Okay.
So I'll go ahead and put that out
6.
there.
I'll put Mike Redd at 6.
Okay. Mike Redd at 6. Ray Allen.
1.
Early in the game.
You said no Steph.
There's no Steph.
So if there's no Steph, then I'm putting Ray at 1.
Cool. Larry Bird. That's my 1. I'm putting him at 1 every time. Larry Bird.
I got him at 3.
Okay. Danny Green.
7.
Oh, bro. Come on, son. You're
on this list, bro.
You're too humble. Okay. Mike Miller.
4.
2 more. So we still have 2 and 5 open.
Okay.
Reggie Miller.
2.
Kyle Korver.
5.
Okay. We happy with the list?
Yeah, solid.
It's pretty good. I would put you at 4 or 5 on this list.
Yeah.
Based off of impact.
So you had Larry 1.
I would put Larry 1 just because he's my favorite player of all time.
Okay.
I actually don't think he's the best shooter on this list, but just loyalty. And
Gotcha.
1.
Okay.
Then I'm going to put Ray Allen at 2.
Right.
I'll put Kyle Korver at 3.
Okay.
Because his percentage stats,
yeah, he's insane. Off the charts.
Insane. Off the charts. I would probably put Reggie Miller 4 and you 5.
Okay.
But
and then you got Mike Red.
The only reason I might put
Who's after me? Mike Red and who else?
I would put Mike Miller then Mike Red.
Okay.
But the only reason I think I might actually switch you with Reggie Miller is because of rings and impact.
Okay.
With that, you're not on the Spurs, they don't win that year.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I would put you above Reggie Miller actually. So like stats wise, most threes you're
gotcha.
Don't have more threes than him, but like impact wise, I'd put you at 4.
Because Reggie don't have any rings.
Because Reggie doesn't have any rings, and like he obviously made impacts, but like not enough to.
It's tough, man. Those times he's playing against Mike, you know.
That is true.
I never had to play against Mike.
Oh, real quick, okay. Before I let you go, we just got off the phone the other day when I asked you to do this. You were coming back from Sacramento.
Yeah.
Doing. I think it's important to talk about this.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead and tell me what Between the Lines is and like what you're doing.
Oh yeah, you know, I have my own podcast, Inside the Green Room with Danny Green. I was about to say
you need to go ahead.
So we do that. I'm with Odyssey with that. I've done some other stuff in the past with camps, Team Green. I have different LLCs, stuff like that. I've done some stuff with high school in the youth space with the battles, their events, the Throne, which is a national championship for high schoolers. But ultimately, I partnered with some other friends. I didn't partner with them. I just come along. They've partnered together, and they invited me. Between the Lines, something they put together to, they visit prisons all throughout California and try to give them a day of freedom. We hoop with them. We play music. Shoot the breeze, some food, hang out, and we visit different yards. But ultimately, we give them, a day, which they say of freedom or just a fun.
Yeah.
They don't get a chance to get that type of every day and get some love, some support. They get to share their story, why they're inside, what they're trying to appeal, what they're trying to do. And some of them wrongfully accused. Some of them just been there long enough for small things that are legal now. Some of them, just strike 3 on something small. So we do any way possible, any way, we can, any way shape or form to help these, young African American and minorities, not just, black, brown, even whites, but a lot of them are our people, and we're trying to, not only help rehabilitate them, but help get their stories shared and be out there and also prepare them for when they do come out, because a lot of these guys make a mistake at 17, they're out at 53. And this is before iPhones, not as old as technology. They don't know how to live a normal life. They don't know how to adapt. They don't know how to get a job. So they're doing a great job. Shout out to Tori Lamont Stapleton. Shout out to Darren Duncan. Those guys, they put it together. And I said, I just come along for the ride, and it's always dope. It's always a very humbling experience. The most creative people in the world are in prisons. Wow. The most humbling experience, just to see what some of them have gone through. Some of them, what they're going through, some of the things, the mistakes they've made, what they've learned in there, and just hearing their story. And so a lot of them don't belong in there, especially for as long as they've been in there.
Yeah. Wow. It's incredible. Yeah. Shout out to Tori. He's been doing this for a while. He's invited me along.
They're humans, man. A lot of times we dehumanize them. But to see them, I said, we're all same. We all come from different back. We all have people that have been, incarcerated, so we can connect on that front. But for them to be treated as humans when it makes them feel very special. So it's dope, man. It's always a humbling experience.
Man, I love that, man. I love it. Go ahead and we just kind of touched on it, but go ahead and plug your
Inside the Green Room with Danny Green.
Is this
Harrison Sanford? You can find it on all platforms. It's everywhere.
And then also follow you on IG. Yeah,
I'm Green Ranger 14 still on Twitter, dgreen_14. But yeah, I'm not on TikTok or anything like that. I don't post as much, but you can follow me.
Some TikTok
but now that we're in a space where career might be shifting at some point soon, I might be in that space even more, doing media stuff. I've done some stuff with ESPN, done some stuff with Yahoo, done some stuff with I'm analyzing the game, still trying to play. We'll see what happens. But if not, I had said so far it's been a hell of a ride, and I'm prepared to transition when the time is necessary.
Well, bro, once again, I cannot thank you enough for making the trek out here.
Man,
I know it's late at night and everything, and it really, I need y'all to understand, it speaks volumes, especially in a city like LA, for somebody. I just called him 3 days ago to ask if he would do this, and he said, bro, the second I can,
I was like, you make it work, man. If it happens, so it just, you were able to adjust around my time schedule.
Bro, if you said midnight, easy. I'm here at midnight, bro. Well, you're NBA champ. What you mean, bro?
A lot of people
what
different,
you mean,
man.
bro?
A lot of people different. They're like, yo, we gotta make it happen this Tuesday at 12, and I'm like, yo, I don't know if I could do. They give you slots, but you guys were very, flexible, so which made it easy for me.
All right, well, we appreciate y'all watching this. Make sure y'all make sure y'all subscribe and follow along anywhere you get your podcasts on any platform, as well as subscribing on YouTube and following us on our socials. This has been No Bounds, powered by Dappz Sports. We appreciate y'all. That's an NBA champ right there, guys. We'll see y'all next time. Peace.